Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about print-on-demand everything. So if that is something that you're interested in, please do stick around. So in today's video, I'm going to go over all things mock-ups. And so I'm specifically going to talk about shirt mock-ups, but same rules apply. So right now I am on Etsy. I'm on an Etsy listing, and I'm going to talk about what you should be including in your mock-ups, and really how to make them stand out and look good. Remember, people are ordering based off of the mock-up image, so that's what they're seeing. Your main mock-up image is what's going to get their immediate attention, and then once they open your listing, then they're going to see all of the other mock-ups. So you do want your main thumbnail image to be the best, and you kind of want it to, display your design in the most optimal way. So for this listing here, this is the Mardi Gras shirt, and I did show you guys last week how to create this design right here for Mardi Gras, as that is coming up in about a month. So here is the listing. So what I have is a Gildan mock-up. So you can see there does have a tag here that says Gildan. So I do want the mock-up to actually represent the product that I'm selling. This is important because if you're selling a Gildan shirt and then you use a mock-up with some generic shirt, the cut may not be the same. It may be misleading. If you pick a shirt that's maybe more form-fitting or whatnot, you do want to make your mock-ups as honestly representative of the product you're selling as possible. So I am selling a Gildan t-shirt here. This is a Gildan t-shirt mock-up, but you do want it to look nice. So I've got this mock-up here. I added a little flair, so I added the little Mardi Gras beads there, a couple feathers here. You put in the little green flourish. It's a lifestyle mock-up, so you got your pants, your shoes. With this kind of lifestyle mock-up, it's not necessarily aimed at a female or male in terms of who the shirt is made for. If it's a unisex design, then your main mock-up probably wants to be, more of a unisex mock-up. So for example, if I had this shirt on a girl and that was my main mock-up image, somebody who was buying for a boy might skip right over it because they just assume it's a girl's shirt. Or vice versa, if I had it on a guy, somebody who was shopping for a girl might just skip over it because they're looking for a girl's shirt. But if you have just the plain flat mock-up like this, whether they're looking for a girl or guy, they're going to see the design, and if it's something that they like, they can click into it. So that's why I usually, unless the design is made for a specific gender, try to do just the flat mock-ups as my main image, and then once they get in, I will have mock-ups that'll show the cut. And so now for this one, there's my main image. I have a bunch of images on the side that you can circle through. So then the next image I've got is going to be a couple's shirt. So you can see it now on a guy, on a girl, and you can see the cut. And again, these are Gildan mock-ups, so I made sure that the cut and everything was how it should be. And so there's a mock-up on a girl and a guy. Sometimes I'll have separate mock-ups where I'll have a mock-up just for the guy and just for the girl. This one, they happen to be a couple mock-up, and that looked pretty nice there. Then you also want to show your different colors. So if you're offering it on different colors, you want to make sure your colors are represented as well in your mock-ups. So my main mock-up was on a black shirt. I've got the models here that's showing the black shirt. But then if I go to the next one, I've got a mock-up with it on a navy blue shirt. And if I come again, I've got another mock-up, and this is on the heather gray. And again, all of these are on that Gildan shirt, so they're all representing exactly what I'm selling. So there is it on the heather gray, and again, I'm offering it on white. Again, this is a Gildan shirt. There's another lifestyle mock-up. One more mock-up on the black, again, Gildan. Then you also want to have your size chart. How do they know what size to order? You do want to have a nice size chart. So here is an example of my size chart. It's simple, it's easy to read, but it looks nice. And so this kind of says Etsy, which is a little bit different than what you would get like on Amazon. And as a comparison, I will show you, I pulled up an Amazon listing here, and this is what their size chart looks like. It's just a basic white graph, and it's not, you know, aesthetically appealing at all. So that kind of size chart, you know, it's fine on Amazon. It doesn't really scream Etsy though. So if I'm going to do Etsy, I want to make a size chart that looks nice. And again, specific to the shirt that you're selling, obviously. And so that way we can see and make sure that people buy the right thing. It says that it's a unisex shirt, and you know, it just gives you the sizes and the lengths and the widths, and it gives you, you know, how to measure each. And so that's important there. If you are doing, you know, you're printing on something like Printful or Printify, and you add their size chart, it's going to look just like the one that I showed you on Amazon. So you probably want to invest in your own or make your own. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then my last image is, you know, logo from my shop, because again, I want them to go to my shop and remind them who I am. So there's Therapy Designs logo. And so it all kind of ties nicely and screams, you know, Etsy. And so that's what we're looking at there. So with that in mind, I want to show you how you can go ahead and do, you know, all of these things. So I try not to use the mock-ups that I get, you know, off of Printful or Printify, you know, unless there's really no other good option. And even then, sometimes I'll take those mock-ups, do a background remover, and then put the, you know, product on my own backgrounds, or I'll add things to it to make it look good. So I'll almost never use the mock-up just straight how it is unless I don't have any other good options. So if you were to go onto Etsy and you were to just go ahead and do an Etsy search, so up top here, lots of these. I just did a search for a Gildan shirt mock-up, and Etsy sells a lot of different types of mock-ups. They'll sell the size chart, by the way. They'll sell a color chart. So if you're offering so many colors that you don't have pictures for all of them, you can use a color chart. Etsy only allows 10 pictures per listing. So if you were selling it and you were offering more than 10 colors, or even if you were offering 10 colors, you still need to have a spot for a size chart in there. So then you can do a color chart like this. So some of the listings will have color charts up so that they can pick the color from there. I don't do that. I try not to offer so many so many colors like that. It gets a little confusing. That's too many options. So I try not to use those, but they are there, and you will see some listings that'll have the color charts. Everything should have a size chart. And then there are all sorts of mock-ups that you can buy, both in kids, adults, t-shirts, sweatshirts, you name it, and you can look for the exact product that you want. So for example, this is a Gildan 6400 bundle, and so this is the shirt that I'm selling, and so this would be good mock-ups in different colors, right? You want to invest, and this is important if you want to be successful on Etsy. You do want to invest in some nice mock-ups, both girl, guy, couple, and then at least one of every color that you intend to sell, so that you can go ahead and make mock-ups that will, you know, work well with your ad. And so you don't need to have a ton of mock-ups available to you, but you want to invest in some of just the basic ones, and then from there you can sort of dress them up how you want. And so if you're willing to spend the money, you know, digital downloads here, this is like $225 for these mock-ups here, and so some of them are pretty darn cheap. And so there's some ones like the women's mock-ups there. Just make sure you get the right, you know, shirt. So some of them will say Gildan 500, for example, versus Gildan 6400, versus if you were doing Bella Canvas. So if you were selling a Bella Canvas shirts, they have mock-ups for those as well. So just make sure you get the mock-up for what it is that you want. And so it's definitely worth taking the time, looking through all the different mock-ups, finding ones that you think would work well for you, and investing. Again, most of them are very cheap. Some of these are ridiculously expensive, but most of them are a couple of bucks, and most of them you can get several for a couple of bucks. And so it's worth that. You can also, by the way, go over to Creative Fabrica. So if I jump over to Creative Fabrica here, I can do a search for Gildan shirt mock-up, and these are things that I got off of Creative Fabrica also is going to have some Gildan t-shirt mock-ups. And so they'll have mock-ups again for different seasons. So you may want a seasonal mock-up. They're not going to usually have as many color options or the better mock-ups as I've seen on Etsy, but there are some good ones in here that you can usually download. And some of these you can get for free. Here's some size charts here that you can get for free, so you don't have to pay for them. Here's a size chart for a hoodie. It's pretty plain. Here it is again. And so what I might do is do something like take this size chart, do a background remover on it, put it on my own backgrounds, dress it up a little bit, and make this kind of boring size chart into a nice Etsy style size chart. And I will show you guys how to do that as well, but I just wanted to show you some different options. Obviously you can also do mock-ups on Canva, but they might not have the specific product that you are looking for. And again, you do want to represent your product as accurately as possible, and so you can kind of scroll through there. You can also get some family mock-ups. You can get like mock-ups for older and younger people. So depending on what your product is, you want the best possible mock-up. Again, it's worth investing in at least the ones that you would sell the most of. So you may not invest in all of them, but if it's something that you sell a good amount of, you should go ahead and just have the basic mock-ups there. So I'm going to jump over to Canva and kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So here is a mock-up, pretty simple. Now this is one that I kind of added some stuff to myself. So what I have here is a basic, I think I have this all grouped together. Oops. I had a basic mock-up that just had the black shirt on the wood background, and it was pretty plain. And so I went ahead and dressed it up a little bit. So I added in just a little bit of green. And so this was just, I looked for elements, I looked for plants, and I found a photo of, some greenery, and I can just kind of put it right there in the middle it's onto the side to add a little bit of a flair there. I added the jeans in. So again, I just did a search for jeans, found a photo of jeans. I might have had to do a background remover, depends. And then I just sort of put the jeans in the corner of the page. Same thing here with the shoes. I went and I did a search for shoes. And so that's one way that you can kind of make your own mock-up. It looks pretty nice. And now I've got the shirt on the nice background. By the way, you can take any of these mock-ups that you find, do a background remover, get just the shirt or the sweatshirt or the product that you're selling, and then create your whole background on your own by, combining different elements. You do want your thumbnails to be different than other people's thumbnails. If everybody was using the same mock-up image, that's not cool. You want to be original, you want to stand out, so you want your mock-ups to look different than everybody else's mock-ups, but with the same general style of Etsy. So you can create your own. So this is just a plain one. So for a non-holiday basic t-shirt, that's a good simple mock-up that I have for black. Now let's say I wanted to take it and I wanted to celebrate, Valentine's Day, or I want to celebrate, St. Patrick's Day. Those are coming up, and I want to dress up my mock-up a little. I can take the same mock-up here and I can add some flair to it. So here's more or less the same mock-up. It's got the same sort of plant in the corner. It's got the jeans, but here's what I did differently. I added some little, hearts up here to say Valentine's Day. And instead of the shoes, I got rid of the shoes and I added a little bouquet of roses in the corner. And so that gives it just a little bit of a Valentine's Day flair just by adding those couple of little elements in to what was already my basic mock-up. I did it again here on this one. This was for St. Patrick's Day. So I had my, again, basic t-shirt mock-up, the same as I did before. I got rid of the shoes, added a horseshoe, and just added a couple little clover things here in the corner just to give it a little bit of that St. Patrick's Day vibe. But again, this is all that same one mock-up. And one more example here for Easter. Again, same t-shirt, same background, same plant, same jeans, same shoes as in the original, but I added some tulips here and a couple little Easter eggs there to give it an Eastery feel. So you can, decorate your mock-ups however you want to make them look original, to make them stand out, but still give them that sort of Etsy feel. right? And so that's an easy way. And so what I have is I have all of these saved, and then every time I want to, put up a new listing and make a new mock-up, I keep the whole background and then I just put a different picture on the shirt. So this is a picture. I can get rid of that and put a new picture here and make a new mock-up of another product. And so that is an easy way to go about doing that. You can also sell custom products. And when you're selling custom products, you want it to be very apparent from the mock-up that it is customizable. So this is another customizable product that you can sell. So for example, and I've showed this one before too, it's not dog hair, it's Chihuahua glitter. It could be it's boxer glitter. It could be it's, terrier glitter. It could be anything. And so I offer it customizable. And so I put this little sign in here so that they can see customizable dog breed or name. You could also put somebody had their dog's name put in there, like it's whatever your dog's name, glitter. And so I offer that. You do want to make it apparent on your mock-up that that's something that's offered. So adding a little sign like this so that they can see it. And you may need to play with the placement of your little sign too, because when you're looking at mock-ups on Etsy, sometimes it'll cut off the side or it'll cut off the bottom depending on how it's displaying. So you want to make sure that it's a little bit off from the sides and the bottom and in a little bit so it's not getting cut off, so that when it shows on a page, you can actually still, read it. So you can read that this is customizable. I have another one right below it here. And this one says customizable select year, and it's made in 1994, and I can do this and make it 94, 95, 96, whatever. Again, this is all that same mock-up that I showed you. So I bought one mock-up off of Etsy, and I've turned it into several mock-ups. And so, that's one way that you can do it. Now you'll also have a variety of other mock-ups with models and whatnot. And so, for example, here is a mock-up of a girl wearing the shirt. And so it'll show you just sort of the general fit of the shirt. So you want to include something like that in your listing so that they can see kind of how the shirt actually fits. And again, make it as realistic as possible. By the way, I'm going to show you how to do this basic design next week. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned next week to see how to do that one. Here's another one. Sometimes you might want to have different ethnicities represented depending again on what it is that you're selling. So there's another one, just a model at the beach. Here's another one, and this is just a model, but this one's more like, hey, here I am with my motorcycle. So depending on what you're marketing to, so whatever your design is, whoever your audience is for that design, you want your mock-ups to kind of represent that population. So you're also going to want to have mock-ups in different colors, right? So those were all black, and that's because black is usually the #1 selling color. So I always have a lot of mock-ups on black. But if I'm selling it on different colors, I do also want to have different colors being represented. So here's a lifestyle mock-up. This one I got for free off Creative Fabrica, and there's the mock-up, and I can just put a little design right there on it. And so I just did that, and boom, now I've got a lifestyle mock-up with a white shirt. Here I have another mock-up, but this one is with a senior citizen. This one I got off Creative Fabrica as well. And so I've got my senior citizen. So if I've got a design that's maybe marketed more towards the older population, like for this one, Bionic Hip Club. So this is more for like hip replacements. You probably aren't going to have a bunch of 20-year-olds with hip replacements walking around wearing a hip club shirt. So this is obviously for a little bit older population. So it makes sense to have it on a model that's a little bit older if you're going to use a model. If you did this and you sold it, or you used Printful and you used the Printful mockups, they would show you this design on two very young 20-something-year-old people. And so that wouldn't really look great, but it does work well on sort of the older person. By the way, if you like this design, I do have another video on how to create this design here. So check out my channel if you haven't. I've got something like 200 and some odd videos up there. So there are a ton of different things starting. And I did start this, by the way, at the easiest possible level and then kind of progress harder and harder. So all of the videos you see now are assuming that you know some of the basics. If you really want to learn Canva right from the very beginning, you got to go all the way back to like my first videos where I go over just simple text and simple graphics and kind of go up from there. And obviously Canva has made some changes in the past year or two, so some of the things will have changed in terms of the way that they look and some of the new features on Canva, but that was just my caveat there. Again, here's that couples shirt, and I showed you on the listing with the couples shirt and the Mardi Gras. Here's another couples one. It says I'm on my honeymoon, and so I just put the design on both shirts, and that works well if I want more of the couples design. Now here I have a similar mock-up, and this one has a navy shirt. So again, I'm trying to show off different colors. This is a Gildan shirt, and of course it is important here that the colors represent the actual colors. So again, not all navy blue is the same. So if I used a mock-up of some generic shirt to show navy blue, and the navy blue was a different color, then it's not very accurate. So by using the Gildan shirt, I can accurately represent the navy blue color that they have. So again, when it comes to colors, you need it to be as accurate as possible as well. And this was another very similar mock-up. So I've got the shirt, I've got the basic wooden background. I added my little plant flare. I added, you know, some jeans and some shoes, and there's your basic one. And of course you could dress this up the way I dressed up the black one, but this is just the basic navy blue. All right, here's another one, and this one is the heather gray, and again, this is a Gildan shirt. This one I did get off of Etsy, so I've got my Gildan shirt mock-up, and nice, you know, heather gray. I did show again how to create this design, so if you want to learn anything about silhouette designs, again, that's on my channel as well. Here is the size chart that I showed you. Now this size chart I did buy off of Etsy, and so this one was already made, and so I just decided to use it. It was pretty and simple, but when it comes to other things, you may need to make your own size charts, and those are pretty easy to make, so I can kind of show you that as well. So for example, the socks that I sell, you might not have a size chart specific for that product if it's a different product, if it's not a really popular product, so you may want to make your own size chart. So I made a size chart really simple just for socks that I can include, just so that people know what size to order. This is another one that I made for jackets. This is for a Champion jacket that I sell. It's an embroidered Champion jacket, and it would be kind of hard to find mock-ups with that exact Champion jacket and make it look embroidered. So it's a little bit easier to kind of just create my own mock-ups here. And so there is my jacket size mock-up that I made. Here's one for hoodies, and I'm going to show you how you can do this and make it a little bit better. So this one says hoodie sizes. It's basic. It's, you know, it looks better than that Amazon one again. So I've got this versus if I went back up to Amazon, that doesn't look as good. So this does look a little bit better, but it could be better still. So I think I showed you guys one of the hoodie mock-ups size charts that was kind of basic too that I saw on Etsy, and I went ahead and dressed that one up a bit. So here's how I made it a little bit better. So originally it was just an all white background with the hoodie. I did a background remover just to get the hoodie. So the hoodie's, you know, separate by itself. And then I added this little chart here. So I did a little crop and just cropped out the little chart. I put both of those on sort of that wooden background, added a little bit of green to it. And so this looks a little bit better than both the Amazon one and the one that just had just the size, because it adds a little bit of, you know, a little bit of color, and it actually shows the product there too. So lots of different ways that you can play with these, but if you sell any product and you sell a lot of it and you need to have mock-ups, go ahead, invest the time and the money to get a couple of really good mock-ups, you know, just a basic collection, and then you can reuse them. So if I sold a lot of sweatshirts, it would be worth buying and making a size chart that looks nice that I could include in every listing for those sweatshirts. And so those are just things to consider. By the way, the same rules will apply for children's clothing. So you may have designs specifically for children, or you may have a design that could go, that is sold on children's shirts and adult shirts, in which case you may want to have a children's mock-up as well. So this is, again, this is a children's mock-up that I had gotten off of Creative Fabrica, and I do have some other, you know, lifestyle children's mock-ups. So there's a kid and it shows sort of the cut of the shirt. And again, these were Gildan, and so I can have some lifestyle mock-ups with kids. So, you know, whatever you're selling, you're going to want to find a mock-up for it, whether it's adult, whether it's a kid, whether it's a candle, whether it's a mug, whether it's a hoodie. You know, make sure that you've got some nice mock-ups. Unfortunately, on Amazon, if you're selling through like Amazon Merch on Demand, we don't get to choose our mock-ups. So it's just the basic generic blah. But on Etsy, you do get to choose your mock-ups, and the top sellers are always going to have really nice mock-ups. So you do have to make sure that, you know, you're designing to sell on Etsy versus Amazon if that's what you're going for. And then I've got a color chart here. So this one is for Bella Canvas, and this was an example of a color chart that just had all of the different colors of shirts, and then people could look at what color they wanted. Now, I would never have a listing that had this many colors on it, so I really wouldn't use this, but I want you to know that it is something that is available to you. And then I also want you to know that, you know, on Canva, you can go up to elements, and we could look at mock-ups, and I could look up for mock-ups for everything. So there are t-shirt mock-ups, mug mock-ups, all sorts of different mock-ups that you can get for keychains, pictures, pillows. So you can find mock-ups here too. So I want you to have as many sources as possible. I know most people are trying to kind of at least start off by looking for some of the free stuff, which is fine. But, you know, if you're really serious, it's worth investing a little bit of money to really make it look good. But there are a bunch of, you know, free mock-ups that you can use here on Canva as well, and you can be specific. I do have a really short video on my channel on how to use Canva mockups. So there is a mockup app here. So if you go to the left-hand side and you hit the apps and you come down, there's a ton of different apps, and one of them is a mockup app. Yeah, so it's this one right here, says mockups. You know, I can click that and you can create a realistic mockup. So we can open that. And then you can pick from different, you know, apparel or prints or smartphones, computers. So if you were to go to apparel, hit see all, they're going to have some pre-made mock-ups that already have frames in them, or you can just drag and drop your design right into that frame to create a mock-up. And so if I wanted to add a page here and I wanted to use any of these, you can do this really quick. There's not a lot to choose from, so that's it, what I just scrolled through, just so you know. And some of these are just pretty blank. And these are generic shirts, by the way, so they're not necessarily representing anything. But if I was to just pick one, let's say that one, I could bring it out, fill my page with it. There we go. And then all I'd have to do is pick whatever I want to put in there. So I could go to my uploads, pick any of my designs. There's one. And boom, drop it in the shirt, and there you go. There's your mock-up right there. And so you don't have a lot of choices, but that is easy to do, and that is an option that you have on Canva too, that you can do your own mock-ups that way. And so that looks pretty nice. And again, if I wanted to, I could just do a background remover and put this model in front of anything I wanted. But I'd have to be selling a shirt that has this very similar cut, and it's only available in white. So you are a little bit limited. There's also different mock-up apps that you can use too, if you're willing to spend the money on like subscriptions for different mock-ups. So anyways, there's lots of things to look at. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments section below. I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. I hope this video was informative. I know it went a little bit long, but there's a lot of things that you can consider when you think of mock-ups, and I didn't even go into any other products. But just so that you're aware, you know, that's just one more thing that you can really be creative with. So take care, and I hope to see you guys again next week. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.